What's up, everybody? It's the Welcome to the Show podcast brought to you by Audible. Go to audibletrial.com/welcome to the show to get a free audiobook download and a 30-day free trial. That's audibletrial.com/welcome to the show. Also, have you written a review for our podcast yet? Please take 2 minutes to leave a 5-star rating for the Welcome to the Show podcast wherever you listen to podcasts. It helps people to find our show. CT, what's good?
Hey, Manny. How's it going?
Hi, I'm Michael Barbaro. I'm good, man. We had a good weekend.
We did. I got to see you this weekend.
Word. Two-day hangover. I'm at that age now where it lasts more than one day. I don't know if that's how you felt.
I definitely had a 2-day hangover, and currently have a minor fever.
Ooh,
boiling up in here.
Ooh.
So,
yeah,
we've all had fevers before. I don't think I need to explain it.
I mean, you should be proud of that, man. Just, you drank yourself into a fever. Who would have thought? Who would have thought?
I feel like I didn't get any sleep, and this is why my body's just like, yeah, you don't want to sleep? Enjoy a fever.
Yeah, in the words of Carlos Peña, palacata. Now you're sick. Yeah, right. So all right. So today we're gonna do a little bit different. We're gonna talk about baseball a little bit later. A couple of things we're gonna discuss when we talk about baseball. The All-Star Game selections were announced last week. I want to talk about Albert Pujols' return to Busch Stadium. The Dodgers, are they having that type of season like the Red Sox did last year? Don't say anything yet. The Mets are free falling. We'll talk about that. I have a lot to say about the Mets. We're going to talk a little bit about the NBA draft. Is there life on Mars? And to start it off, I got a bone to pick, CT. And we try not to make the show political, although the last couple of weeks we've talked about the issues with the Dominican Republic. I don't want to talk about Trump's politics. I don't care what he says on those, Klan rallies. That's what I call them. Sorry, CT. I don't know if you support him or not, but
I don't.
Good. I don't care what the economy looks like under him. I don't care, I care, but I'm trying to illustrate a point here. All of that stuff is almost like noise in a way. And there's an underlying issue here that's being discussed, but I feel like is being swept under the rug because everybody's focusing on his latest tweet or whatever the fuck. You know what I mean? What his hair plugs look like, how orange he is on a particular day, so on and so forth. But there's one thing. I saw this video when I woke up on Sunday, and when you're a dude, you sit on the can and you look at your phone. I don't know if you do that sometimes.
Shout out to the dudes.
Just being honest here. And I saw this video, and it's from that company called This. I think it's like This Now or something, or Now This. I forget what it's called. And I got pissed off. And then I started scrolling through Twitter, and I noticed that it was something that had happened, and a lot of people were talking about it. And I guess since I was traveling all day Saturday, then we went out. Friday, then we went out Saturday night, had a good time, yada, yada, yada. I had just noticed it. And I want to play the audio for you guys because for me, it's upsetting. And let me just tell you what the issue is because I'm beating around the bush now. So we know that when Trump was elected into office, part of his policy was that he was going to crack down on immigration, build a wall, all that nonsense. And in the process, they started detaining people. And among those people are children. And it even came out last week that they even detained and separated a kid as young as 4 months old recently. And so this is being argued in the courts. This is getting very serious. I'm sorry. But
no, it's all good, man. Keep going.
This was argued in the courts, and an official tried to argue that detained children don't need soap, toothbrushes, or beds to be safe and sanitary, that's quotes, while in Border Patrol custody in a video that went viral. I'm going to repeat that again. They're trying to argue that children don't need soap, toothbrushes, or beds to be safe and sanitary. And these kids are being held for months at a time. So let's listen to what she had to say. If at any point you want to stop and just interrupt this, Go ahead, CT. I'll do the same thing. But this is what she had to say. You're gonna hear some weird music in the background. It's from the now this whatever it is. People. I'll link it on my Twitter too. Let's take a listen.
If you don't have a toothbrush, if you don't have soap, if you don't have a blanket, it's not safe and sanitary. Well, wouldn't everybody agree to that?
But you're really going to stand up and tell us that being able to sleep isn't a question of safe and sanitary conditions?
Your Honor, I think what I'd like to stand up and say is to focus the court on what the question is. Any number of things might fall under those categories, and I think
yes, but sleep surely does. Right? You can't be safe and sanitary or safe as a human being if you can't sleep.
Well,
and you said in your briefs it doesn't say anything about sleeping, so therefore there's nothing in here about being able to sleep.
I think the concern there is, Your Honor, the court finding that sleep, for example, is relevant to a finding of no safe and sanitary conditions is one thing, but the ultimate conclusion is safe and sanitary is a singular category in the agreement, and it was one has to assume left that way and not enumerated by the parties because either the parties couldn't reach agreement on how to enumerate that, or that it was left to the agencies to determine.
Or it was relatively obvious, and it's at least obvious enough so that if you're putting people into a crowded room to sleep on a concrete floor with an aluminum foil blanket on top of them, that doesn't comply with the agreement. I mean, it may be that they don't get super thread count Egyptian linens. I get that. But the testimony that the district judge believed was it's really cold. In fact, it gets colder when we complain about it being cold. We're supposed to sleep crowded with the lights on all night long, and all you do put us on is the concrete floor with an aluminum blanket. I mean, I understand at some outer boundary there may be some definitional difficulty, but no one would argue that this is secure and sanitary, safe and sanitary. Or at least I don't think you're arguing that, are you?
Your Honor, I think what I'm arguing is that the way that the district court reached the conclusion was to say.
Yeah, I can't even listen to her.
You know what? Go ahead.
No, you go. Go ahead.
You know that. So can I ask you, what are they in court for? Is this to get that? Like, is this for all children, or is this what case was this that they're in court?
This is
testifying for. I'm
assuming that this is the whole family separation. They probably got sued by the ACLU or by some other organization. Like there's one called Raíces, and there's a whole bunch of different organizations that attorneys are going down there and telling people what their rights are and filing lawsuits as to the conditions of these detention centers. And I think even today, a doctor reported that the conditions that these people are staying in he would equate it to torture. I'm guessing that's what they're referring to.
That's crazy. That lady that's defending against those claims. I mean, I don't think she really believes that it's that's like right. But that's her job, I guess. You know, that's the only explanation I have for her trying to fight that argument, right?
Yeah, you know what was frustrating though is at what point do you put aside job security and yourself to do the right thing? Like I don't know. I'm not in her position, so I can't say how she felt before going into the courtroom, after leaving the courtroom, you know, whether or not she sleeps well at night, so on and so forth. But knowing that we live in the richest country in the world, you know, Jeff Bezos just got away with not paying taxes on, I forget how many billions of dollars in taxes. There's enough money to take care of these people, and she's up there, you know, beating around the bush. Just, you know, call it for what it is. Don't go in. Yeah, I don't know. It's just disappointing that this is, you know, I don't think that any job could get me to defend these actions.
Oh no, not us, because we're, you know, that'd be like selling your soul, right, for money.
Yeah.
Is this related to the asylums and people not being able to apply for that on American soil anymore? Is this related to the same? So now is somewhere in that agreement they agreed that they don't need beds or something. Well, I thought the agreement was that if a country agrees that they're a third, what was it, like a third country, something about safety,
Mm-hmm.
that means that they would supply these.
Not in the U.S. anymore. Now in the U.S. you can claim asylum in the United States of America, but they're gonna send you back to your country until your case is heard. I mean, I don't know
Yeah.
if that's the same thing with Cuba, but they send you back in. So, and the thing is that most of these people aren't even Mexicans. They're trekking on foot in some cases from
Mexico.
Central America through Mexico all the way up to the United States to claim asylum because they're in unsafe conditions. We know what's happening in Venezuela and some other countries in South America and Central America. And we're turning these people away and back into danger. And then, and not only that, when we were detaining them because we didn't want them inside of our country, according to Trump and his administration, there, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, called it a concentration camp last week, and a lot of people took issue with that. But what else do you call it? It is what it is. I mean,
but I have to ask, like, and I totally don't agree with sending these people back to their country that they're trying to flee, or sending them back to Mexico where they're not as safe as they would be if they were in America. But do you really think the answer is to accept every immigrant or every person that crosses the border? Do you think that's the answer?
No, I think that the immigration issue was a problem. I think now, during Obama, the illegal immigration problem was at net zero or even in the negatives. People were leaving, and they called him the deporter in chief. The problem was being fixed. What's happening now is that there's so much unrest in Central and South America that people are traveling up in record numbers to come to America, who for I don't know, hundreds of years has claimed that we will take your, whatever the Statue of Liberty says.
Yeah.
This is a safe place. Now, all of a sudden, we're turning these people away. And I
that's
understand
crazy.
that among some of those people, there are criminals and there are rapists and stuff like that. That's true. But the stats show it that these immigrants that come into the country, statistically speaking, you're safer around them than you are around Americans, because if you're taking that sacrifice to come up here, it's because you're trying to provide for your family. You're trying to make a better life for yourself. You don't just travel to another country to commit crime. You know what I'm saying? Like that's not what most people do. Like, I don't, you can commit crime in your own country. You know what I'm saying?
That's true, but I can definitely see criminals trekking to come to America just for the fact that their lives could be in danger just as much as a normal person's life could be in danger. I mean, I could see a criminal's life being even more in danger because they probably have enemies out there because of the crime or whatever. But I totally agree that, I mean, I agree with the numbers that the crime rate must be lower with the people trekking because, yeah, more often than not, it is going to be someone escaping violence,
Yeah.
So that's crazy, though.
It is crazy. And, we're first generation Americans. Our parents migrated from the Dominican Republic. They did it legally. So I get it. Like, I understand that they did it the right way and so on and so forth. But as having a father who's owned businesses for a long time, in the past we have hired illegal immigrants, and my experience with them is they're working super hard at sometimes, ungodly hours. I don't even know how they work so much. They don't get paid as much, and most of the stuff that they earn, they're sending it back to their families. They want to make the lives for their families better. And, like I said, I'm sure that there are criminals mixed in there. I know that they are for a fact, but there's also criminals, our next door neighbor could be a criminal. You know what I'm saying? Like,
no, yeah, definitely.
And the thing is, the thing that really pisses me off is that the corporations get away with it again, because why don't we turn to the corporations that hire these people for cheap labor and punish them for hiring illegal immigrants? You know what I'm saying? Like, at some point, when is enough enough? Like I said before, I don't know if you heard this part. Jeff Bezos got away with not paying taxes on I don't know how many billions of dollars in profits. When is enough enough? I understand this is America. We can't cap how much money you make. But for God's sakes, like, when there's people dying in the streets and people are hungry, and you see that people are trying to get into our country because it's a safe place to live in, when do we stop being so selfish and about the dollar and just start taking care of each other? You know what I mean? I don't know. Maybe I'm sappy in that regard, but when I heard that video, and when you see the things that you see and you hear what the doctor said today, that shit pisses me off, man. It drives me up a wall, man.
No, yeah, like we could sit here and argue all day about what's the right and wrong thing to do with the immigrants and crime rate and this and that. But one thing's for sure, that for all those children to not have beds, that's like that's just so unhuman and so un-American, right?
Yep.
Like, we've literally been claiming to take care of people. This country was built off immigrants.
Right.
And I don't know what happened these last couple of years, but because Trump's elected, like, I guess people are cool with this type of stuff now. I don't know.
I don't know, man.
And I don't think it's ever going to end until... Who knows, man? Until we get attacked from all these countries that we're turning our backs on.
Well, and you know, this does relate, and then we'll get off of Trump because I don't want to, you know, he already dominates most of everyone's lives. I don't want him to take up this, however long this episode is going to be. Hopefully, it's not that long. But the world is already losing trust in the United States of America with the incident that happened with Iran last week. I don't want to get into full detail, but the U.S. is claiming that Iran tried to bomb a tanker, and the U.S. is claiming that they have irrefutable evidence that it was Iran, and the rest of the world doesn't believe the United States. That's unheard of. In the past, it's immediate. If you have irrefutable evidence, it's immediate. Yes, you're wrong. We need to impose sanctions on Iran. And the world is losing trust in this country. And you know what? I don't trust. After the Bush era with the Iraq War and the fake evidence to start that war, which is ongoing still in Afghanistan and stuff like that, I don't even know if I trust us either. Like, everything is a fucking game and just trying to get, you know, I don't know.
It's all about, it's like they want everybody to be scared,
right?
So that we support when and where we go to war, right?
Yep.
So yeah, man, it's the same old shit as always.
I concur, man. All right.
Ah, damn it.
There was more to this whole story. So Pence went on Tapper's show this weekend, and he blamed Congress, which of course Congress now has a majority of Democrats in it. Last I checked, Trump closed the borders. Not Trump and his administration and the Republicans. Trump, his administration, and the Republicans decided to separate children. We heard Jeff Sessions say it in a press conference that that's the price you're going to pay for trying to cross the border illegally. Don't try to pin this one on Democrats. Like, I'm sorry, this is on you, and this is going to be your legacy. This is going to be something that we're going to look back on in the history books, and it's going to be a shameful time. And again, not the rest of whatever Trump has done, because I really could give two shits. This thing right here is clear. This is irrefutable. This is going to be a stain on the history of this country. All right, the next thing. They found, so the Mars rover Curiosity, this is random, onto another topic.
Let's turn this around real quick.
Yeah, found a strange light. Was captured by the Mars rover Curiosity. Justin Mackey of NASA says that that light could be caused by cosmic ray hits or sunlight glinting from rock surfaces as the most likely explanations. From looking at that picture, CT, and you've seen it now, that shit does not look like sunlight glinting or some sort of cosmic gray to me. That has like a definitive shape and all that shit to me.
It does.
So, CT, I think that we need to get ourselves ready because over the last couple of weeks, there have been UFO sightings, a Navy ship or something like that saw on radar some unusual movements, and this has been ratcheting up. So I went out today and I purchased myself a record, and just to make sure that we're safe, I'm going to play it. It's going to be available on this podcast. When the Martians invade, all you need to do is play this, all right? And
oh my God, please turn that off.
And everything is going to be okay, because if we remember in Mars Attacks, this is the song that old lady was listening to when her headphones came off. I'm calling you. and the Martians started to deteriorate. What do you think, CT?
Let me just apologize for anybody who listens to this podcast on full blast. Maybe at work.
Everything's gonna be okay, guys.
I don't. All right. I don't know, man. I have honestly not heard. I think I've like avoided those headlines with Mars and Martians and UFO sightings because I feel like it's just so repetitive at this point, right? And you know, if we are getting invaded, I mean, I really just hope that, you know, we can our weapons work, and it's not like Independence Day where we were outmatched, and I hope Will Smith is out there,
and I hope that Bill Pullman, the president, can make that speech. That this is our Independence Day. Shit, I wanted to run through a wall, and I was like 10 when that came out.
How could America do that, man? Make everybody's Independence Day July 4th? Come on, yeah, like
Right?
we love ourselves too much over here.
Serious question though. If there's other life forms out there, why do we immediately assume that they're trying to hurt us? You ever thought of that?
No, you ever watch Ancient Aliens?
Nah.
Well, it's an interesting show. I consider it more for entertainment now than facts, because if you go on YouTube, you can see everything that they protest is signs of like extraterrestrial life from like the ancient years. It kind of gets debunked, right? Now nobody's saying that there couldn't have been extraterrestrial life here back then, but if there was, like, don't you think we would have found proof, like irrefutable proof at this point? And I also just think that for as much possibility that there is life on other planets, there's, I think, an even greater possibility that we'll never reach them in this lifetime or the next, because, I mean, the next star is just too far from us, right?
Yeah.
So unless they can time travel, which I doubt they can, or, you know, warp speed, which I still doubt that's possible because, you know, well, you know.
Oh yeah, totally. I definitely know. Yes.
Yeah, like warp speed. That's some scientific sci-fi. Like that's not possible.
So I remember watching something on History Channel back in the day about the pyramids and stuff, and they were saying how, you know, when the pyramids were built, they had simple machines. They didn't have cranes and shit like that. So, you know, did you ever consider, could that have been done by UFO or aliens?
You're talking about things that were like man-made things that were built?
Yes.
Well, I think people have to remember that those things took centuries to build. They didn't build it like in a year, you know?
How about the ones like in where is it? In Mexico or something, where it's like a giant stone on top of another stone on top of another stone? Like, how do they lift that shit up? The Aztecs or whatever the fuck.
I don't know specifically which one you're talking about, but
What is it? Stonehenge? That's not in Mexico. That's in Europe somewhere.
yeah, it's in Europe. Are you talking about like the Aztec pyramids?
Yeah, like the Aztec, you know, pyramids and temples. I'm talking about Stonehenge mainly. That's in Europe. I'm sorry, guys.
Stonehenge. I don't know how Stonehenge was made, but I mean, I think we got to give ourselves more credit. 2 people probably can't lift that for sure, you know, 10-ton stone, but 100 people with the, you know, with the help of like rolling it on sticks and using levees and string, rope.
Okay.
You know, I think we got to give more credit to what we can do with our, you know, with what we have.
You can debunk these theories as much as you want. As for the rest of us,
I'm not trying to debunk anything. I'm just saying, for people that believe in this stuff, I feel like it's always just one-sided. You know, they never choose to believe that it could be debunked, or that we're just alone on this. We're just floating in space by ourselves for another millennia.
all right.
I'm gonna watch that movie like soon.
I know. I want to watch it too. Okay, fine. CT. Throw some, you know, whatever.
And as far as that image, which is what this topic is about, right?
Mm-hmm.
Can we see like the moment it was taken, or does that thing only take pictures every
13 seconds? And the 13 seconds before the light wasn't there, according to this article, and 13th, the next image, the light wasn't there either.
I mean, if it's really a glare, don't you think we'd see more examples of glares? We're talking about a whole planet with nothing to stop it from, the light, nothing to stop the light from hitting all these rocks that are apparently causing the glare. So I really don't think it's a glare.
I don't think it's a glare either. It could we've never seen solar flare before, right? Like we're not on Mars. We don't get solar flares here, thank God. But so maybe that's what it is. I don't know. But to me, it has a definitive shape. Like the close-up image, it almost looks like a dragonfly or something. I don't know. I just found it interesting. I think it's interesting that they found methane. That's an indicator that there's probably water somewhere under there. I think they found ice before. But yeah. So do you want me to play the song again or?
Nah, I'm good.
Let's move on to the next one, the NBA draft. To me, because I'm a Knicks fan, the story of this draft was the New York Knicks, aside from Zion, which I have some sound on Zion a little bit later. But to me, it seems like for the first time since Patrick Ewing, and I was born when Ewing was drafted, but I don't remember it because I was a little baby. But
Damn, you old.
What's that?
I said, damn, you old.
Damn, man. Fuck you.
Psych.
All right.
Get it?
To me, it seemed like the Knicks are, and after what Michael K said last week, if you don't know what I'm talking about, listen to the last episode. I detailed it in the last episode. It seems like the Knicks are starting to do things in the right order, and I don't want to give them too much credit for their pick in the draft, but the Knicks in the past would not. To me, it seems like when they got Kristaps, like people were shocked by that pick. I don't know if you remember the viral image that went around of the kid.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah,
I remember.
But the pick, and by the way, they selected.
Ladies and gentlemen, at guard, at 6'7" from Duke University, please welcome R.J. Barrett.
That's right. They selected R.J. Barrett, who...
Where are you getting all these audio clips from?
Because I'm the man, son.
All right.
Who was the right selection. He's not going to save the team. He's not LeBron James. He's not, Kawhi Leonard. He's not any of these guys. But he's a really good player who earlier in the season last year, I don't watch college basketball, so I'm regurgitating whatever I read somewhere else. He was considered to be the best player coming into the draft, and then Zion, of course, took over. And I'm just glad that the Knicks took the conservative pick, the guy who more than likely is going to be the sure thing. It shows that the Knicks are starting to show some self-control, trying to control their impulses. And to me, maybe they're trying to instill confidence in these free agents that are available now. And I'm starting to hear now that Brooklyn is ahead of the Knicks for some of these players. That the Knicks aren't just going to go out there and, instead of getting LeBron, they give fucking Amari Stoudemire a shitload of money, and so on and so forth. So I feel good about this pick, and I'm starting to get excited about basketball. I don't expect the Knicks to make it to the postseason next year unless they get some free agent, two of these free agents or one of them. But it seems to me like they're making smarter decisions. Finally, I don't know what your take is.
My take is this, that before the NBA Finals ended and before we knew what Kevin Durant's future was looking like, or Kyrie's, or any of that stuff, Kawhi Leonard, anything, the Knicks plan was to draft a high pick and sign 2 max players worth the money, whatever. It would have been Durant, Kyrie, or a combination of all those free agents that are out there. Now that looks like it's falling through, I just can't help to think that the Knicks are going to be the Knicks and spend that money elsewhere. Because like you always say it in basketball, when you have money, you're almost forced to spend it.
Right.
So don't be shocked if they give, a max deal to Al Horford or something.
Yeah.
Well,
Al Horford opted out of his deal, so he is a free agent too. And so according to Michael K on the Michael K show last week, he did say that the Knicks, do have a contingency plan in case 2 of these free agents don't sign with the organization. And the plan is to not just give that money to anybody. So their plan is to give short-term deals for good, decent, free agents, but they want to keep themselves open for a potential future person that they can get on the team. So, yeah, there is a chance that KD and Kyrie or Kawhi and Kyrie don't come to the Knicks, or one of those three players, the three Ks, the KKK. You can't bring them together. That's a bad combination of Ks. But, you know, if we don't get, I'm going to be very disappointed if we don't get those players. But I guess what I'm trying to say is, if to me this is starting to feel different, you know. I don't know if that makes any sense, and it's gonna take a long time. It's like the Astros, right? I don't want to compare the Knicks to the Astros, but before the Astros became the Astros, they had 3, 4, 5 seasons of horrible baseball. They were the worst team in baseball. I think they had like 2 consecutive, maybe 3 consecutive 100-loss seasons. It's a process. Take your time. If these guys aren't available, somebody else will be in a year or two, and you go that way, but we don't need to rush it. If you end up having a horrible season and you got a lottery pick again next year, you may get the number 1 guy, and we don't know who that guy is going to be. So, and then I look at the Golden State Warriors, correct me if I'm making mistakes here, but Steph Curry is homegrown, Klay Thompson is homegrown. God damn it, I'm losing names already.
Draymond Green.
Draymond Green is homegrown. That's 3 core players in that organization that are homegrown players. You know, that's important too. So,
well, here's the thing, right? I don't think the Knicks, I would be upset if the Knicks signed Kevin Durant for the most money that they could possibly sign, because he's not playing next year, right?
Mm-hmm.
Even if they did get Durant, I doubt that they're getting 2 max players, and you basically just have Durant on that team. If you look at the free agents available next year, I don't remember there being too many names anywhere near that level of talent of what there's available this year. And in basketball, unlike baseball, it's not guaranteed where you're picking in the draft. The Knicks could just as easily pick 10th than top 3 like they did this year. I think personally they got lucky, and the pick was a no-brainer, so I kind of don't want to give them credit for and I don't hate the Knicks, so please don't think that I'm just bashing the Knicks. I think it was a no-brainer to choose this guy. You know, when they're essentially looking at another losing season, and this only works if they're picking in the top 3 next season. Since that's not guaranteed, I just don't think it's looking good right now, you know. And I'm only saying that because of what's been going on recent years. And I really, you know, until they have a final roster to start the season, maybe I can make a better decision. But I have a feeling they're just gonna spend stupid money for, you know, on some random players. Because I'm looking around the league, and better teams than the Knicks have given crappier contracts to players that don't deserve it.
Right.
And there's crazy money in basketball right now, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they're the Knicks. So
I hope that, you know, if KD comes, I think that wherever KD goes, Kyrie's gonna go, and it seems like Kyrie wants to go to Brooklyn. But is that where KD wants to go? I'm not sure. And as far as Kawhi goes, I think he's going to stay in the West Coast. He's been saying the thing with the Spurs, he was saying it then that he wanted to go to the West Coast. So they're saying that the Clippers are in on him. The Lakers are in on him. The Lakers are trying to make room for a max deal. If the Lakers get Kawhi Leonard and they have LeBron James and Anthony Davis on that team, forget it. Like, it's over. Why even watch next season?
Yeah, Kawhi's not going to the Lakers. I don't see that happening.
Yeah. I hope not. I hope he doesn't go there. And they're saying that Brooklyn is in on Kawhi too. But I don't know. If we get KD, I think that somebody else is coming with him. I guess that's my point. I could see there's an off chance that Kawhi can go to the Knicks. There's a Bleacher Report thing where they're saying like the odds of where these players are going to go. I think Kawhi comes alone. I think KD and Kyrie are going to be a combination. They're going to be a combo deal. Going forward next year. Something tells me the Nets are going to do something huge, and that shit would piss me the fuck off. Can't let the Nets win the championship. No way, Jose.
But again, whatever happens with KD, he's not, unless they make it to the playoffs without him, we're probably not seeing him till the playoffs. So, you know.
Truth.
And also, another point I wanted to make before we move on from this topic is Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Jim, none of those guys were top draft picks. You know, I think Steph Curry was picked 7th.
Yeah.
You know, Klay Thompson, I think, was picked 11th.
Yeah.
I think that and also for the Astros, that worked out. but it doesn't always work out like that, you know?
No, it doesn't. But what I'm trying to say is I like that the team is starting to the trade for Kristaps Porzingis. That shit wouldn't have happened under Isaiah Thomas or under
you're right.
under Phil Jackson. People, when it first happened, people were upset by that. I'm not gonna lie. Even I was like, "What the fuck is going on?" But it makes complete sense. You just built so much flexibility for your organization. You got yourself a good player in RJ Barrett. You're making your organization to come to Madison Square Garden, the mecca of basketball, right? You just made the team a little bit more attractive, and I think that our chances have increased. I agree with you. There is a good chance that we don't get any of these guys, and that would suck. But if this rebuild takes 4, 5, 6 years, and we get a championship within the next decade, I'll take it, man. It's been 45 years. Yeah, man. I mean, goddamn.
Hey, I hope the Knicks do win because there's people that I care about in this world that like the Knicks, you included.
Thanks.
So I hope the Knicks do win.
Thank you.
Soon, in this lifetime.
One more thing on the NBA. I just wanted to play this audio of Zion because this kid is he's a freak of nature. He's a juggernaut. A story came out last week that he could hit 400-foot bombs. Apparently, he played high school baseball in high school,
of course,
football. And he got drafted first round, and he had something to say about his mother. And I wanted to play it because I love my mama too. And
okay,
I thought it was nice.
Well, Zion, certainly the moment we all anticipated, but you've been waiting for this moment since you were 5. How would you describe being the number 1 overall pick in this draft?
I mean, I don't know what to say. I didn't think I'd be in this position. My mom sacrificed a lot for me. I wouldn't be here without my mom. She did everything for me. I just want to thank her.
Your mom was your coach when you were coming up. She coached you until you were 14. What are the sacrifices you feel as though she made for you?
She put her dreams aside for mine. She always looked out for the family first before herself.
I mean, come on. This isn't fair.
Yeah.
He's a great player and a great fucking person. Come on, man.
Yeah, Zion's mom definitely faked that birth certificate, man. He's definitely 25 or 26. There's no way that kid is 18.
Right? So
or
mature.
19,
Jesus Christ, man.
He sounds like a grown-ass man.
Damn. Fuck. And
I hope he turns out to be really good in the NBA, but my God, like this hype is crazy.
The hype is real. The hype is real. And I hope that he's the real deal too, because how often, I mean, there are we're making it, at least I am, I'm making it seem like the NBA is filled with animals and whatever. No, that's not true. A lot of NBA players are really good people, well-spoken, do things for their community, yada, yada, yada. It's just hearing somebody talk like that on his night about his mother is, to me, I think that's awesome, There was a lot of good moments like that in the draft. I didn't watch the draft, but I did watch some recap on Bleacher Report and ESPN, and I think I'm getting excited about the NBA again. So if I'm getting excited about the NBA again, and it's been 20 years, 25 years since I watched like the NBA hardcore, then something must be changing. So good for the sport. Now baseball, follow along. God damn it.
Yeah, draft Zion. Fuck it.
Yeah, bug it. Let's talk about the Mets, CT. Let's shit on the Mets for a little while.
Finally, man. We haven't done this in a while.
So the Mets are free falling. They're 4-6 in their last 10 games. They rank last in blown saves in Major League Baseball. It's either them or the Red Sox, one or the other. They fired their pitching coach, Dave Eiland, last week and hired an 82-year-old pitching coach in Phil Regan. I don't know what the fuck they were thinking. Now, yesterday, Mickey Callaway and Jason Vargas get into a shouting match with a reporter. And today, the Mets decided Callaway's job is safe. They're just going to fine him and Jason Vargas. And Callaway went out to speak to the media to apologize. He didn't apologize. He ended up joking about it. Later on, he had to recall the media to come back out to issue an official apology. This team is a fucking joke, man. And I said it at the beginning of the season. I don't want to, the season isn't over yet. They could very much make it to the postseason, and I could, shut my fucking mouth or whatever. But I said at the beginning of the season, the Jed Lowry signing was a mistake. There was DJ LeMahieu was available. The Jerris Familia signing was a mistake. You had Zach Britton, you had Adam Ottavino, you had David Robertson, although David Robertson's been hurt, was available. Even the trade for Edwin Diaz, we celebrated it a little bit, but taking on Cano's contract was a big risk that they took. Taking on a 34-year-old player with 5 more years left on his contract is a big risk. And the Mets aren't even competitive. They're a joke. I think, this is my take, I think Callaway has to go. I know that this guy's only had the job for like 6 months. I think Brody Van Wagenen has to go. I think it's time for the Mets to completely blow it up. Just start from scratch. Everybody goes, Marlins style. The NL East is going to be a joke because that's what needs to happen because they're not going anywhere with these players.
No, yeah, man, completely wasted those years for, I'm not saying Syndergaard is out of his prime. I think we're looking at what Syndergaard is, but I just remember when they made it to the World Series with Harvey, Syndergaard, DeGrom, Wheeler was on the shelf, Matz had emerged, right? I mean, Familia was leading the league in saves.
Yep.
I don't know how that team made it. I just remember them sweeping the Cubs. It was weird.
They traded for Yoenis Cespedes and they went on a tear. And Cespedes is another one.
That's the thing. That's the thing. I mean, yeah, what were they with the Cespedes thing? I like to rip them for that because it's an easy, it's an easy thing to talk about because he's been gone for so long and they gave him so much money. But at the time, what were they supposed to do? They probably should have signed Daniel Murphy too, but he ends up becoming like one of the greatest. He ends up becoming one of the greatest anti-Met hitters. Always rips the Mets when he faces them. And yeah, there's a lot of different things they could have done, but honestly, like with Brody Van Wagenen, whatever the hell his name is, weird ass fucking name. The players have to play, right? I mean, you don't think Robinson Cano is going to be this bad,
no,
right? Edwin Diaz is great, but he's blown a couple saves. But I also think it's the way that Mickey Callaway manages the team. So I do agree that Mickey Callaway should be kicked out. What does the pitching coach have to do with it? I mean, seriously, when does that ever happen that they fire the pitching coach before the manager? I think Mickey Callaway is a serious problem, but Brody Van Wagenen, I'd like to give him a little bit more time just to see what else he can do because there's a new season coming up, obviously, and maybe this team is just 1 or 2 players away and a different manager away from competing. But as like you said before, the NL East is a joke. Can we shout out the Marlins now, or should we?
Let's do it, man. Fuck the Mets.
Shout out to the Marlins.
This is a good way to rip the
interesting.
Mets. Let's talk about the Marlins. Go ahead.
Yeah, the Marlins are, to me, I was watching their game against, my God, who were they playing? I guess it was St. Louis yesterday, and there's just something about the Marlins. Like, I haven't looked at their numbers yet, and I know their record sucks, but when you hear what they have in the minors and how the guys that are up currently pitching, or, Caleb Smith before he got injured, they seem to have really good pitching, good enough. I mean, obviously, you need a bullpen to go with that so that all those numbers remain good, but they don't have that. And I'm excited enough about the Marlins where I don't consider them a complete, like, last season, to me, the Marlins, there was nothing about them. There was nothing interesting about them. And looking at the Marlins yesterday, I feel like we need to revisit the old veteran leadership talk. Manny, before I get into that, is there anything that you like to add about the Marlins?
I agree. I mean, I went on Fangraphs to see where they ranked in some pitching categories, and they're in one place I heard that they were ranked 7th in pitching. I don't know how these people rank things like that, but in terms of FWAR, they're above the 50 percentile. In ERA and FIP, they're also above the 50 percentile. I've seen some of their pitchers do really outstanding things. I know that when I'm trying to stream a pitcher in fantasy, sometimes I stay away from Marlins pitchers because the team is bad, so they don't win many games. But for the most part, these pitchers are, they're averaging 10, 15 points a game. And I know that it's fantasy baseball, but that's an indicator that that's a decent pitcher. He's not that bad. And there have been, like you said, some players that have impressed. And this team is not as bad as I thought that they were going to be. To put it in perspective, the team that we were just shitting on is just 5 games better than the New York Mets on the loss column.
Crazy.
And that's a team that has a high payroll, has, brand name players on it.
Stars. They have talent on the Mets. I'm not gonna rip the Mets and say that they're completely, useless, but they have some of the best players. Not some of the best players. They have one or two best players in MLB, and then you got guys like Conforto, who I think Conforto's a good player. Like, I feel like he should get traded, but for some reason the Mets are probably not looking to blow anything up, and I think that's just such a big issue with them. Like, get rid of all the pitchers, get rid of your star players, and start over.
Yeah, and I think the Marlins got that Sixto guy who a lot of people were saying was like the next Pedro Martinez or whatever. They have pitching prospects. They have pitching that's already up here that's pitching decently. I think they need some offense, and I think that they're a couple of years away. They're not quite ready yet, but I think they're a few years away.
Let me get back. Let's bring up an old topic of veteran leadership. Now,
let's do it.
For those of you that have been listening to the show since day one, you probably recall a segment that we used to run called Balk Off, I think it was called.
Word.
Where we took a topic or maybe like an old saying in baseball and we ripped it for a couple minutes. And I ripped the veteran leadership. And I still don't believe in that whole veteran leadership crap. But then I look at a team like the Yankees, right? And I think that players like CeCe Sabathia and Brett Gardner are the perfect example of veterans on your team when you don't have like the star power, right? And I really think the Marlins are lacking in that department because the only guy that I could think of is Starlin Castro. And Starlin Castro hasn't been relevant. You can make the argument when he was on the Yankees and he was, hitting doubles and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But Starlin Castro really hasn't been relevant since the Cubs, you would say.
Prado.
Right?
Martin Prado's on there too.
I feel like he's always injured.
Yeah.
Right? But anyways, I feel like there is a place for veterans because a guy like CeCe Sabathia, even though that's not the case today, from what I'm hearing through the chats that we're in, I don't know what the score of the Yankees game is.
Move on.
But I feel like guys like CeCe Sabathia are the perfect guys to have on a team like the Marlins because when the Marlins are facing a 5-game sweep, or not 5-game sweep, 5-game losing streak, you get a guy like CeCe to come in and at least give you a chance to win the next game. But when you have a bunch of, rookies or star-studded lineup, you're going to face a good team or not even a good team, or any team on a losing streak, and you're just going to continue to roll, fall off the cliff. So that's why I wanted to, give some props to the veterans in baseball. Not all of them. Not Todd Frazier. Not Todd Frazier on the Mets.
Oh, Jesus. Here we go.
I'm talking about those veterans that are, either getting their number retired for their team or at least Hall of Fame bound at some point. Or, depending on what year it is. And that's all I have to say.
Here's my prediction. The Marlins will win a World Series before the Mets.
All right. I'll back that. I'll back that claim.
I'm really down on the Mets, man. I mean, they've won 2 in their existence since, and the Mets haven't won one since '86.
Will the Marlins win the division before the Mets win the next division?
Ooh, that's a good one.
And that's tough because honestly, like the Braves have been on fire as of late,
and the Phillies are falling apart.
And that's with the Braves. I mean, remember last year in the playoffs they just looked so blah.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying there's a clear cut. I mean, the Braves are definitely probably going to win the division, but still, it's anybody's next year. I feel anybody could come in and just start taking over.
Mm-hmm. It's anybody's division. I think the Braves look exciting this year. Like all of a sudden, I don't know where the change came. Maybe it was the calling up not Austin Meadows. What's that guy's name?
Austin Riley.
And Josh Donaldson getting hot all of a sudden. Dansby Swanson's finally living up to the number 1 draft pick. He's on my team. And they just sent out Fultonavich. Like they have the balls to send down the guy who was their ace last season. Like they just have confidence. I feel good about that team. And they're rolling, man. They're 6.5 games above the Phillies, who the Phillies had taken ownership over first place for most of the season. Now they're falling apart. I feel good about the Braves. But the Mets, and this is what's disappointing. The Mets are a big market team, and they continue to, disappoint year in and year out. At what point do we just start calling shit what it is? And the Mets suck. And until they start acting like a big market team, are they analytics or not? Like I have no idea. You hired an 82-year-old pitching coach. Like what is he going to teach these guys? You know what I'm saying? Like throw them some chin music. You know what I'm
In
saying?
my day, we used to pound the strike zone.
Right?
You know, I kind of feel like the Mets pitching rotation success was like one of the bigger issues that has caused them to be what they are, because with that pitching staff, it doesn't matter what happened the season prior. You start a season with DeGrom, Syndergaard, Wheeler, Matz. For the little bit that Matz has done in his career, you start a season where he's your fourth or third best pitcher. You think it gets people excited. So it's exciting enough for them to go out and trade for Robinson Cano in a season that I didn't think the Mets should have done anything. You know, I think last season we were talking about the Mets trading away DeGrom. And of course they start off the season 15-4 like they did last season.
Yep.
And they got everybody excited, and now everybody's looking at like, oh, thank God we didn't do this. But look, it's happening again. DeGrom gets no run support. He lost a 2-run lead the other day. He didn't get the win for that. The Mets blew it against the Cubs, nonetheless. That would have been a big win. And it's the same exact issues from last year. The bullpen's even worse. It's kind of like
it's the same issues from always. It's the same old Mets, and it's the same thing I said before when I said that I had mentioned it before the season started. I found the piece on Call to the Pen that I wrote, and it's the same old Mets, man. It's instead of going out, you're a big market team who has tons of money under the cap, under the luxury tax threshold, or whatever the fuck you call it. And instead of going out and getting the best player that's available, you get the best player that's available adjacent. You get Jed Lowry, a 35-year-old, however old he is, player who did well in Oakland last year, but come on, let's call it what it is. He hasn't even played this year. He's been hurt. And you had DJ LeMahieu, who once hit 348 as a contact hitter in a big ballpark, and you see what he's doing across the street in Yankee Stadium. You go out and you get Jarius Familia, who you traded away because he wasn't good enough last year, was horrible with the Oakland A's, and then you decide to bring him back for more money than it would have cost you to get a Zach Britton or an Adam Ottavino or whatever. It's just like the same shit. It's like when 2 years ago, when JD Martinez was on the market, instead of going out and getting JD Martinez, they go out and get Jay Bruce. It's just like, come on, guys. At some point, you have to start acting like what you are. And what you are is a big market team, and you should be better than this. And it's no surprise why the Mets attendance in New York City is pitiful year in and year out. Because why would you go out and support this team? They're a joke.
Beautiful stadium, too. And I also want to add that, at what point do we start questioning like the actual... I think we do got to blame the coaches at some point, but I can't help but to ignore that. Jay Bruce is doing well in Philly. I'm pretty sure the Mets would have enjoyed that type of Jay Bruce production last year. But again, they play in a bigger ballpark, and I feel like there's something to being in a better lineup than what the Mets had last year.
Yeah.
I feel like anyone who you expected production from, even Cano, is going to look a lot worse when the entire lineup isn't doing shit, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, at what point are we going to just like not just blame the players, but there's clearly something wrong in the organization? Like the Mets.
They're the Mets.
Meet the Mets. Meet the Mets.
Step right up and greet the Mets. Bring your kiddies, bring your wife.
Last season, the Boston Red Sox were having that type of season. This season, the Dodgers are having that type of season. It seems like everybody's playing well, everything is going their way, and this weekend, I think it was the something that's never been done before. I think it was 3 rookies. Was that what it was? On Friday was Matt Beatty, hit a walk-off home run.
Yeah.
On Saturday was Alex Verdugo, hit a walk-off home run. And then yesterday, Will Smith hit a walk-off home run. That's 3 consecutive walk-off wins. Back-to-back rookies did it. Is this it for the Dodgers? Is this their year? Are they finally going to win the World Series?
I don't know, but as much as you want to compare this team to the Red Sox, the Red Sox didn't do what the Dodgers have done, where they go to the World Series every year and lose.
Facts.
Or at least, have been winning the division this many years in a row. I mean, the Red Sox did win the division 3 years in a row, and then they won it last year. Wow,
Facts.
What a great team.
Okay.
What a great F-bomb team.
Okay.
Go
on.
But yeah, the Dodgers are insane. they're way ahead of everybody in run differential. So way to go, Manny. Got a hard on for that.
Yep, definitely. Oh, you heard it? You heard it on the microphone?
Yeah. It hit the desk and yeah. I don't know what to say, man. And this year it's looking like a National League type of year. I'm not going to lie. I feel like as much as I love Houston, I feel like Houston they need George Springer back. Obviously.
There's something going on in Houston. They looked down. Even Altuve looks down this year. Something's off.
Yeah, but I read a stat about Altuve that he's having a career high in hard hit rate or something.
Huh, that's surprising.
So I think I think wait on it.
Yeah.
For Altuve, but damn, man, the Dodgers are 13 games ahead in first place.
It's insane, man. I think it's their year. I mean, Max Muncy's having a really good season. Corey Seager's out again. This whole platooning, Jock Peterson and Kike Hernandez and stuff like that is working out. I mean, Dave Robertson, his job should be safe, I think. There was a lot of questions whether or not they were going to move on. It's looking like they're hands down the best team in the National League. Right now, the only other team that looks like they could compete is the Braves, and I think that the Dodgers are better than the Braves, personally.
Oh, yeah, and the Dodgers are 21-11 versus teams over 500. Nice. The Braves are 16-13. Wow. The only other teams that come close to that type of like success is the Astros, 30-21. Mm-hmm. Yankees are 17-10.
Yes.
That's pretty much it.
Oh, yes.
Shout out to the Reds.
Huh? Yeah, man. They're
for avoiding last place and being 5.5 games back from the Cubs. I think the Cubs are overrated, man.
That division is up for grabs. Have you noticed the Central is always like a very competitive division? Like,
yeah.
I remember the Pittsburgh Pirates making it to the postseason 2 years in a row in the wild card and getting eliminated in the wild card. And I think they won like 98 games, 100 games in both seasons.
There was that one season that I think it was 2015 when the Cubs got swept by the Mets. The Cubs and the Cardinals and Pittsburgh all had like the same amount of wins, and it came down to like, obviously head-to-head record, but something else too. I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean that whole division, even the Pittsburgh Pirates, everyone is within 5.5 games of the division, which is awesome, and everyone's in it in the wild card too. So, I like it. I like seeing it. It looks like Joey Votto's starting to heat up a little bit.
Round of applause.
Can I get him? You want to reverse that trade, Folty for Votto?
If Folty comes back healthy and pitches good in the minors, we'll see.
Forget it. Never mind. It's off the table.
All right.
Albert Pujols, I don't have sound on this. It's okay because it would have just been applauses. Returns to Busch Stadium, which I kind of found surprising because he's been with the Angels for a long time. But he returns to St. Louis for the first time since signing with the Los Angeles Angels, and he has an amazing weekend, hits a home run. I think he gets a single in there, and they removed him from the game last night, I think after the first inning, and he got a hug from Yachty, standing ovation. He went into the clubhouse, and the crowd wouldn't sit down. They were standing for him until he came back out to greet them. To me, it almost felt like he was gonna retire or something. Like I was almost expecting to hear that at the end of the season he was gonna hang it up, and I kind of wish that he would. I'm not gonna lie, and I think I've talked about this before. I love seeing him. I think he still brings something to the game, but there's something about a player just walking away before it turns completely to shit. And something tells me that in a couple of years, Pujols is gonna be like, almost not even a factor. You know what I mean?
No, yeah, and I've never seen anything like that. He got a standing ovation in every game that he played in St. Louis, and that was crazy. Led by Yadier Molina. I think Yadier Molina demanded it in the third game, so that was crazy. And you know what? I kind of do wish Pujols retired this year. Just not that I want him to retire. Like I kind of want to see how high he can get up on the home run list, but that's kind of being selfish, right? I mean, the Angels. I'm not saying the Angels are a great team, but they're showing flashes of being, not as bad as they've been all the other years, right? And because of Pujols, he's taking away playing spot from someone else. But not just that. What would a Pujols going away tour be like? Like, what would a Pujols in his last year of his contract declining in a farewell tour be like? I don't think it would be the same as a Mariano Rivera one. It'd
don't
be
know,
kind
man.
of sad, right? It'd be a little sad to see
you mean
Pujols go up there.
You mean if he waits it out? Is that what you're saying?
I'm saying if Pujols does one of those things where he announces in
yeah.
the beginning of the year that he wants to retire and that this is his last season, he's gonna get a farewell tour, right?
Yeah.
So what's that gonna be like? With his production, I think this season he's not having the worst season, but I'm pretty sure it's not gonna get any better.
No.
So I would retire this year if I was him. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie.
Go out while you're still, able to play. You know what I mean? I watched the video. I think I mentioned this before. I watched a video about his sprint speed, and it's bad. And I think that's why he always ranks last in double plays, and his batting average is really low.
Yep.
It is like I like watching him play, but he looks, he looks old. He looks beat. And I hate seeing like. Well, I was about to get super personal. Not gonna get personal. Fuck it. I hate seeing guys who are a shell of themselves, and he's not a shell of himself yet, but he's almost there. And it would suck to remember him that way.
I would say he is a shell of himself. I'm not gonna lie. And when you're splitting time with DH, I mean, Ohtani's here.
Yep.
Let him be the DH. Let's see what that team can do. So as much as we've talked about on the podcast before, I've seen your idols retire or whatever, like those legends. I like to see him play for as long as possible, but in this case, like what would Albert Pujols' farewell tour look like? I don't think it'd be like, glorious.
Honestly, it would have been perfect if he just walked away last night.
Oh man, that would have been dope. Yeah.
Yeah, that would have been perfect. Back home,
if he just got on that mic. If he just got on that mic and said, "You know what? I didn't make this decision till now, but I'm retiring, bitches." Like, mic drop.
If he made a mistake. St. Louis, I just want to say I'm 50 years old and it's time to walk away from the game. Oh, whoops. I mean, I'm 39.
You know what it is, though? I think Pujols does so much for charity that at this point he knows he's a burden on a team, but he can do more active, playing than he can retired.
I like that one. I like that excuse better. Let's keep that one. Speaking of Ohtani, let's jump into the All-Star game real quick. He told some reporters, I saw this on Bleacher Report earlier today, that he wants to be in the home run derby. And I say, fucking do it.
Hell yeah.
That would be awesome.
Finally.
Right?
Finally.
And I hope that he actually does it. That would be awesome, man. And I think Christian Yelich, too, said that he would do it. I think, it's fun, man. It's a fun thing. And I get it.
It's in Atlanta. It's in Atlanta this year, right?
Cleveland, I think.
Oh, that's a pretty good field for
yeah, they have that confusing
right-handed batters.
That wall, and then there's a fence above the wall, and there's the yellow line. That's kind of confusing, but do it, man. The more the merrier. And for me, I've said this before. The home run derby is the best skills event of any All-Star. It's the best All-Star activity in any sport, bar none, in my opinion.
What I would like to see in the home run derby is if it's 8. I think it's 8, right? It's 8 players total, or 10. Okay, let's say it's 8. I want 4 star-studded players like Bryce Harper, even though you can make the argument he's not a superstar, whatever. I think he is.
He is.
Bryce Harper, Ohtani, Christian Yelich, and Bellinger, let's say, right? Whatever. And then I want the other 4 players to just be like these raw power animals, like Eloy Jimenez would be a good one.
Yordan
Alvarez is a good one. Austin Riley is Chavis from the Red Sox, I think would be a good one. Just like guys that are just trying to win it, obviously. And I think it should be like that every year. Like, I think we should vote 4 players. They have to do it.
Yeah, I mean, it's $1 million.
And then the other 4 players are just 2-year in their first 2 years of their career type of players that just trying to make a name for themselves or whatever.
I'm down for that. I love watching. I mean, I can't wait for the home run derby this year more than the All-Star game. I could give 2 shits about the All-Star game.
What? I love the All-Star game.
The baseball All-Star game is also the best All-Star game of all of the sports too. But I look forward more to the home run derby than I do the All-Star game personally.
I would have to say that I look forward to them either equally or more towards the All-Star game, because there's just something about having my favorite part of the All-Star game is having the starting pitcher of that year throw the first inning and him like just emptying the tank.
Yeah.
Like that to me is always gets me excited for the All-Star game.
Yeah, that is cool. That is cool. And it's fun to see guys be themselves on the field too. Kind of let their guards down a little bit. The game doesn't matter. They're fucking around more. There's more flashiness, stuff like that. I'm cool with that.
Yeah.
But what I wanted to talk about with the All-Star game is that there are some snubs, and I noticed that it's primarily in the American League. In the National League, I think it's very clear like who the best players are, and they're getting in. But in the American League, and there's a couple of snubs, and some people that are getting in that just shouldn't be in, to be fair. And when I was going through the list, it turns out that the players that I feel like shouldn't be in are Yankees and Astros players. Like Aaron Judge was selected. I don't think he should be playing in the All-Star game. He's barely played this season.
Really? He's in the he got selected?
I mean, the way I'm understanding the All-Star voting is that the fans select the players, the majority gets in, and then there's another voting session which starts on Wednesday to select who the starters are going to be. And Aaron Judge was one of the ones selected. I don't think he should have been selected. I don't think Carlos Correa should have been selected. And in all honesty, I don't think Jose Altuve should have been selected either, because they just didn't play enough this year. And Gio Urshela was selected. I don't think he should get in either. I think there were, Rafi Devers. So here's a snub. Rafi Devers wasn't selected.
I think it was, that's crazy. I think it was kind of weird that Ketel Marte wasn't the first selected player. I think he got in on that second round voting. Yeah. That's kind of crazy. I mean, he's having a crazy season.
I know. Xander Bogaerts is the best shortstop in baseball. He wasn't selected.
That's crazy.
Tommy Pham is having a good season. I know he's on my team in fantasy. He wasn't selected as an outfielder. And Max Kepler, for me, him, Devers, and Xander are the biggest snubs. Kepler's having a phenomenal year for the Minnesota Twins, and he wasn't selected either. And it just goes to show, and that's the thing, is that the All-Star game is supposed to be a fun thing, but when you leave it strictly up to fans, you're noticing that the conclusion that I'm making in that I think that the players that shouldn't be there, that they're Yankees and Astros, the conclusion I'm making is that they're super popular teams, competitive teams, so they're gonna get a lot of votes. And I didn't know this about the Astros until I started writing for Call to the Pen, but their fans are they're hardcore. If you write something negative about the Astros, they come down on you hard. So I'm noticing that fan bases that are committed to their teams, and I'm not saying that the Red Sox fans aren't, but let's be real, there's way more people in New York than there are in Boston. You're going to see some snubs, and you're going to see some players that are getting in that just shouldn't get in.
Yep.
So just wanted to point that out. I know I love Aaron Judge. I want to see him there, but he doesn't deserve it this year. You know what I'm saying?
No, yeah, I know. And I'm actually surprised by that.
I'm not surprised, but I am surprised. I'm not surprised because he probably is the most popular player in baseball. So he's gonna get a lot of votes. But I feel like if somebody hasn't played a certain amount of games, he shouldn't even be on the ballot.
Yeah.
He shouldn't even be allowed to be voted on. So I kind of blame baseball for it in a way. And with Urshela, defensively, he's been good. He's been really good for the Yankees. But when you see that Devers didn't get in, then, to me, that it doesn't make sense. I think Urshela is like the fourth guy. He shouldn't be. Devers is above Urshela.
No, yeah, I totally agree with that.
So yeah, those are my topics. We went through that pretty quick.
I think so. Do you want to go over any minor bullet points here and there?
Sure, hit me.
All right. Shout out to Zach Gallen of the Marlins. He wasn't in the 40-man roster to start the season, but he got called up on the 20th, and 5 innings, 6 strikeouts.
Nice.
Didn't get the decision, but he didn't get the loss. So I have high hopes for this guy. He's on my fantasy team. I'm not going to lie. We talked about Ryu last episode, and he didn't have a Ryu start.
Uh-oh.
He actually walked somebody.
Uh-oh.
And didn't get the decision. So, 16 points, I'll take it, but we can do better. And I forget this dude's name, but I think he just signed a contract with the Orioles, the first overall pick of this year.
Oh, yeah. Rushman?
Yeah, I didn't know he was a catcher.
Oh, I didn't know that either.
I thought he was like a shortstop or something.
Didn't he get the Mike Trout treatment? Intentionally walked with the bases loaded.
Bases loaded. I call that the Barry Bonds treatment.
Ah, yes. Good point.
Barry. Anyways, I think that's all I have.
Yeah. One last thing from me. I've been looking for shows to binge because I'm caught up on Barry. My wife and I started watching Big Little Lies this weekend. Holy shit. That's a good show. I wish that I had watched it when it came out.
Big Little Lies.
Big Little Lies on HBO. It's like an all-female cast. Basically, the main characters are all females. Like Nicole Kidman's in it, Reese Witherspoon, Shailene Woodley, I think her name is. Like it's a all-female cast, but it's a really good story. It plays like a Netflix show. Like you wish you could just binge all of them. If they all dropped at the same time, you'd definitely binge it. Really good show. So you got to check that out. And I have next coming up after I catch up on this, I'm gonna start watching Chernobyl.
Wow, man, I am not watching anything except for the X-Files. So what am I doing with my life?
I don't know.
But anyways, what do you think about? Did you ever watch that show with Jerry Seinfeld where he's going around like drinking coffee with people and stuff?
I like that show. Comedians in
All
cars getting coffee.
I saw an ad for that the other day, and it looks pretty interesting. I kind of want to watch it. So good to know.
I like it. It was on I don't know if you like when you used to buy a Roku, like there was this app on it that just came automatically that had like free movies, but it was always like horrible 80s movies or whatever. Crackle, I think it was called.
Yeah.
It was on that service. So I used to watch it on there because they would have some Seinfeld episodes for free too. And then Netflix bought it out. And it's been good. I like it. It's quick. It's like 20 minutes and people let their guards down. You see a different side of Jerry Seinfeld. I like it. I like that show. It's good.
Let me say two more things and then we could close this out. I'm hearing mixed reviews with that new Adam Sandler Netflix movie with Jennifer Aniston.
I haven't watched
it. Looks like a typical, Adam Sandler comedy. Not typical. I'm not gonna lie. He's not like trying to be an idiot. But I'm hearing mixed reviews, and I just wondering if you heard anything about it, if you plan on watching it.
I don't know if I could ever watch an Adam Sandler movie again, man. I'm sorry.
Yeah, but Jennifer Aniston, man.
I know.
I feel like I owe her a view or a stream for all the years that she's, kept the fan. Yeah, for all the years that she's given us. And when you mentioned, those like crappy 80 movies or whatever, did you ever watch the movie Count of Monte Cristo?
No. That with Orlando Bloom?
No.
Oh, never mind. Nope.
I don't know who the guy is. I don't know any of the actors, to be honest with you.
Okay.
But that was like a movie when one summer I was like 12 flying to DR and that's the movie that they had on that flight. Back then you didn't have a selection. You just had like the one movie that they were showing. And I watched it because I couldn't sleep. And every time that movie's on TV, I have to watch it. It's weird.
Really?
So I think it's a remake of an older version of it from like the 60s.
Yeah, there's a lot of versions of it.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, man. So maybe I'm watching the worst version.
Let me see. Yeah. Is it with the guy with the funny nose?
Count of Monte Cristo.
There's a lot of them, man.
Really? Is there like a part 2 or something?
Gerard Depardieu. I think it's the one with Orlando Bloom, but I don't see it anywhere.
I like the one from 2002.
Okay.
And yeah, I don't know what it is about that movie. Just random thought that I had.
There's something that I am excited about, and it's that there's a Quentin Tarantino movie coming out soon. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, I think it's called.
Oh.
I don't know if there's any director that you follow or a screenwriter or an actor where if they have a movie, you have to go see it, like at the movie theater. Do you have that?
Yeah, Medea.
Oh, you like Tyler Perry?
Nah, hell no. I'm kidding.
Oh, I was gonna.
I've never watched more than 10 minutes of a Medea movie ever.
I can't fucking stand Medea. But
yeah, no, I was just kidding.
Like, I'm such a dorky Quentin Tarantino fan that when The Hateful Eight came out, like 3 or 4 years ago, he did like a road show where they played it in 70 millimeter, which they had to like install in different movie theaters because that's not really available. And I went to like a 1 a.m. showing of Hateful Eight in 70 millimeter. and that movie was like 4 hours long. So put that in perspective.
Damn.
And that's how like I get pumped for this guy's movies because they're always really good. Like Pulp Fiction. Here's the thing: in our family, we are immigrants, and we come from a family where the filter isn't there for the most part. Like there was drinking around us when we were kids and stuff like that. Not in a bad way. I don't want to make us seem like we're a bunch of, animals or whatever. But like I remember we used to go as a kid, we would go to the mall or whatever. And my dad hated going to the mall, so we'd go see a movie. He did not think twice to take me to a rated R-rated movie, and that was totally normal. I don't know if it was the same for you, but I remember I was like 10 or 11 years old. My dad brought home 2 bootleg movies. It was Pulp Fiction and Dumb and Dumber. And those 2 movies are like, I can recite the movies from beginning to end, every line, everything in those movies. And Pulp Fiction was directed by Quentin Tarantino. And then he came out with Jackie Brown and what was some of the other ones? There was Kill Bill. I love those movies.
I like Kill Bill.
Django Unchained, Inglourious Bastards. His movies are so fucking good. I can't wait for Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Dumb and Dumber, and I think I've seen stuff from the Hollywood story. It looks pretty good, so I would definitely watch that. And I love Quentin Tarantino movies. Dumb and Dumber is one of those movies that I always associate with you as well, because I think I watched that movie like 8 times when I used to go over your house.
Oh my god, man! I could
I love
watch
that
that on repeat. I could still today if it's on. It's one of those movies. I have to. I love that movie.
But you'd be surprised what movies impacted my life, because even though I did get a taste of those bootleg movies, for me, instead of Pulp Fiction, it was like Arachnophobia.
Ooh.
Do you remember that movie?
Hell yeah, I remember that movie. Jeff Daniels is in that movie with all the spiders. Ugh.
Do you remember the movie with Charlie Sheen where he's like a fugitive and he steals the car and there's like some blonde girl in it?
Yes, I do remember.
For some reason, I can't tell you what the name of that movie is, but I could definitely, like, it's one of those movies that I'll watch if it's on TV. There's just a lot of random movies. Movies played a big part in my childhood, but you're probably not a fan of a lot of these movies. But it's a lot of Jim Carrey. A lot of have you ever seen The Last Dragon?
Oh, are you kidding me? Who's
yeah,
the
that's
master?
like
I love that movie.
That's like one of those movies. Did you ever see Double Dragon?
Hey, my man, what it look like? Double Dragon? No, I played the game, the Nintendo game.
Yeah, don't watch Double Dragon. You wouldn't like it, but I like it. I hope they come out with a Double Dragon 2020 or something.
Oh man, was it Terminal Velocity, the one where he's the stolen car one? I remember that. No, it wasn't Terminal Velocity.
That might be it.
No, that's not it. I remember the movie you're talking about because I used to watch it too. There's like certain movies that when they're on, you just have to watch it. Yeah. For me, a lot of Scorsese movies and Tarantino movies are like that. And there's another movie that if it's on, and they used to play it on TBS a lot, and I haven't seen it recently, maybe because I don't watch TV that much. But with Leonardo DiCaprio, it's a Spielberg movie, Catch Me If You Can. Have you ever seen that?
I love that movie, yeah.
That's another one of those movies that if it's on, I watch it. I love that movie from beginning to end. I think it's such a good movie. But yeah, so those are my movie selections. I'm gonna go see Toy Story 4 with my daughter probably later this week.
Oh man, you are so lucky.
Yeah, I know. I'm kind of excited.
I should go watch that, man. I haven't been to the movies in so long because it's so expensive, and I get Skittles.
Go alone, man. It's the best. But don't go to a kid movie by yourself. No, that's creepy. But I'm not gonna, here it is. Here's my confession, ladies and gentlemen. I go to the movies alone sometimes, and it's for me the greatest thing on earth, because you ever go to the movies with somebody and it's you're the one that initiated it. Oh, I really want to go watch, I don't know, scary movie or whatever, and you bring them and the movie sucks and you kind of feel responsible for it. Like, God damn, I just wasted 2 hours of this person's life.
Yeah, I know what you mean. But I know people that go to the movie theaters alone, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I've never done it. I mean, I actually have done it. One time I got out of work early and I wasn't out of work. I needed like 3 hours to kill. So I went to like a local movie theater, kind of like Lincoln Theater in Kearney. Mm-hmm. It's like very small, could catch fire at any moment. And I just picked the movie that was up next, which was that London version of like, it's like that Gentleman's Club movie. He's like an agent. He has like all these gadgets and shit. Channing Tatum was in it. He was like the American version of that London agent. Anyways, that's the movie I watched. It was a completely empty theater. It was weird.
Yeah, man.
It was like 3:00.
No, I especially during Oscar season. I'm a loser, and like I joined like an Oscar pool and all this shit. I try to go watch all the movies that get nominated. This year, I didn't do a good job with it. But in years past, like 2 years ago, they came out with this thing called Movie Pass, and you pay like $10 a month, and you could go see as many movies as you want. You get one ticket. So I got that, and I would go, like, if my wife went to bed, the kids are sleeping, and it's like 10 o'clock at night, and I'm awake. Instead of sitting at home, I would go and just watch a movie. And to put this in perspective, $10 a month, I would go watch maybe 4 movies a month. That's $40. Guess what happened to Movie Pass?
They got rid of it.
It went under because in places like New York City, when it's hot as fuck, people were getting movie passes and just spending the entire day at the movies with their AC and all this shit. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
It was the dumbest, the best thing for me, for a person like me who loves movies, but it was the dumbest thing for a company. Like, how did they think that was ever going to work out? It doesn't make any sense. It was retarded.
Amen.
All right. So we wasted a good 10 minutes on that.
Yeah, we did.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, please take 2 minutes to leave a review and a rating for the Welcome to the Show podcast. Wherever you listen to podcasts, it helps people to find our show. Here's the latest review we got from True Drew. I wonder who that was. Funny, knowledgeable guys who know what they talk about and have fun while doing it. And then before that, we got one by a Nick, AZ6. Welcome to the Show is one of the best podcasts out there for baseball fans. Covers the topics that too many people in the industry are afraid to touch, and they do so without pulling punches. Ooh.
Wow.
I know. I like that.
I'm going to write a review for us.
Thank you, AZ. So yeah, leave your review for us. It'll only take you 1 or 2 minutes, and it helps people to find our show. We don't get paid for the reviews. If anything, it just increases up in the rankings, and it makes it easier for people to find us. If you have any negative reviews, just send us an email at welcometotheshowpod@gmail.com, and we will get back to you as soon as we can.
Yes.
Also, visit audibletrial.com/welcome to the show for a free audiobook download and a 30-day free trial. I spoke to somebody about this Audible trial thing during this weekend. They weren't sure if they had to pay for something. You don't have to pay for anything. You literally go to that link, sign up. You're going to get a free audiobook download. You don't like it, you can return it, get another one, and you get a 30-day free trial. If after the 30 days you don't like the service, cancel it. No money gets charged to you. If you like it, keep it going, and you get a free book. I think you get I don't know how many free books you get a month. It really is a good service. There's original content on it. So check it out. audibletrial.com/welcome to the show. CT.
Take care.
La paz esté con nosotros. Peace.
That's what I wanted to start singing last Friday, but I was like gone at that point.
We should just do it, man.
Yeah.
We're still recording at at one of my kids' functions. It was the end of the school year, and they do like a show for the families. One of the classes sang De Colores, and I was cracking up.
Oh man,
yeah, because I thought that was just our family. Nuh-uh, son. That's like a Spanish song,
Yeah.
And there's a part where the La Gallina says Kiki Rikiki, and they did that part, and I started laughing.
All right, peace.